I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is Independent School District 832. This is a regular board meeting, Monday, August 25th at 7 p.m. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call of attendance, please. Thank you. Let's move on to the approval of the agenda. I'm looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
By
Second.
Director Doman, second by Director Peterson. Second by Director Peterson. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, let's move on to the approval of the consent agenda. Moved by Director Peterson.
Second.
Second by Director Whitson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Superintendent's report. Barb?
Oh, I have this. Okay, as always, things around the district, awards and noteworthy news, and some upcoming events. So first of all, last week we had our new teachers back, and you'll see a number of pictures with play button on them. Those are on our social media sites, and so if you want to watch a little video with a little more detail about our new teachers and see them all in action. So each of our new teachers is paired with a teacher mentor, and they got to know our key initiatives from our strategic plan, and then had some opportunity to work with their mentors and a little bit before they came back for this week. And so that was today. We had our staff welcome back, and Director Regan was able to join us for this. We had a keynote this year from Erin Walsh, and Erin Walsh, you might remember, she did some parent presentations a couple of years ago for us as well. So it was nice to have her back and have some reminders. We also got to hear from Mahtomedi Teacher of the Year, Jim Lane. We have our back to school information on the website under news. So if there's anything that anyone wants to look up, whether it's school supply list, open house details, the back to school guides, those are all out there on our website. We've had a couple of our referendum community learning sessions already, and we have some more coming up. So the next one is September 9th. We do have 2 in September and 2 in October, and I would encourage everyone to come join us and learn more about the referendum. You can see there's a picture of some of our student tour guides who help explain the student experience in our facilities as they take you on a tour, so you can see what's happening with our buildings. And so I would encourage people to come and hear a little more in depth about the referendum. However, on our website, we have a lot of really good information, and including some videos that are starting to pop up on there. Is the overview video out yet? Okay, so tomorrow our overview video will be out. And so that will also be shared on our site. So there's a lot of really good information on our referendum website, including some FAQs. And so as we have our meetings and we have questions from our community, we are populating an FAQ document as well.
The overview video, the one that we got to see today.
Yes.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Director Donna, you are in there, and it looks great.
Did a lot of good editing.
So if you haven't logged into your Infinite Campus as parents, that is parents of students in our district, we have a new student information system, Infinite Campus, and so there is a change, and you should have gotten some emails about that. Hope you had no trouble logging in, but if you did, there's a help site on our website for parents and for students, and so there are places to go and see how to get in. But this is a much more modern student information system than we've been using. So for one, this was going to help us be more efficient for teachers, for families, for principals with scheduling. There are a lot of advantages to Infinite Campus, but it also allows us to get rid of some third-party systems that cost us more, and because it has more functionality. So that's the reason to switch to Infinite Campus, and so I hope everyone will bear with us as if there's any glitches or clunkiness in the transition, but we are excited for the change. And just around the district, Food Truck Friday. Yeah, September 12th. We have a Food Truck Friday coming up. Additionally, a Family Literacy Night, Mahtomedi in November. So a lot of great things coming our way in community education. I don't know if you got to see the flag football recognition, but there is a video of this. So if you missed it, but the Minnesota Vikings invited our team to the Vikings Museum and surprised the players and coaches with a mural featuring the team. It was pretty cool, and to watch the video and see their surprise and excitement. It's pretty great. We also had the city council also recognized our high school baseball team for winning state as well. And those, I know the city council really enjoys those meetings when the students come, and it's fun for them to be able to interact with the students. And I know the mayor just started this tradition and just loves it. So
A cute kid holding the blue flag there.
isn't he good at stuff? Look at that. Yeah.
That just might be one of mine.
More upcoming events. We have the open houses coming up. The elementaries changed this a little bit to make this a kindergarten open house. And the reason was because of the assessment day. So they wanted to really give the open house experience to really focus on kindergarten. So just take note of that. That's a little different than years past. And then everybody else will have that assessment day time to be able to get to know their teachers and see the building. So again, September 9th is, I'll just highlight that one more time, that's referendum learning session in the media center of the high school at 5:30. And that's what I have. Any questions? All right.
Moving on to discussion information items, we'll start with the board member calendar. That one only electronic, right? We have that one in board book. Are there any questions or anything somebody noticed or wanted to call out about the calendar events for August and September and October?
September. The PTO meeting, September 10th is in the evening. Where's the one that's during the morning?
Oh, that's the evening also.
I thought I looked at this. I thought I looked at it. There was like 9:30 in the morning. Maybe has this been updated?
Oh, there is, September 24th. The top of the second.
Oh, there we go. Yes, Wednesday, September 24th from 9:30 to 10:30. Would be unable to attend that one. I'd be happy to switch with someone if someone wanted to cover me, or I could switch with someone else's meeting for that morning.
Can we talk outside of the meeting? I would just need to check my personal calendar before I can comment on that. But happy to support if I'm open.
Anything else? Any other items on the calendar that anybody wanted to call out? Okay, hearing none, I think we'll move move on to item B under discussion items, the community referendum engagement calendar. And I believe that's this big one we have in our packet. And is
Yeah.
that you, Barb?
So, I know Leslie, you might need, everyone bring some reading glasses or so. So, Leslie has been sending these out. Oh, is that the first one?
Yeah.
All right, so first we have the community referendum learning sessions. Sorry, I was getting to the smaller ones. We'll start with this one. And we just wanted to check and see, wanted to make sure we had everybody signed up for the ones that they could attend. So we wanted to have you take a minute to look at those referendums, see if you signed up for some, if there are ones that you can make or can't make since you first signed up. So just take a look at that first. Give you a second. We have October 29th. It looks like we don't have many people available. Okay. I just want to look.
I think I could be a maybe on the 29th again. I just need to confirm my personal calendar.
Okay. Okay.
Well, we're going to two each, correct? Is that how this started? Okay.
Traveling that day. So I'm not available.
Well, if you want to look and just, and we have a little ways before October 29th, we just kind of wanted to put this in front of you so that you could take a look again and see. Because, you'll want to be able to be there so you can engage with people around the questions they may have. Okay, so that was part one. The other one's a little bit bigger. It's the upcoming, one of the things we talked about is as kind of an ongoing goal. You've talked about it for your last goal. You'll be talking about it again this time. You had talked about just being able to be present at some of these events so that you could be around if people had questions, or we'll have a table at each of these, or you can see down below, table at event. And it's just so that you're available to have informational conversations with people about the referendum. So you see the times. I'd asked you to come prepared to look at your calendars and see where you might be able to fill in. So, you want to start?
Just a question on open houses.
Yep.
For middle school and is that the time that you'd want someone there continuously, or is there a window of time within that?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be it's yeah, if you look at that middle school, we have Jenny is able to be there
Oh, yeah.
for a time, and so she put in what time she could be there. So we have people, if you just have like ideas of when you could be there, then we can make sure that we have that covered. I'll be there as well, and so I'll be filling in for some of these times, but it's just the idea of having people around the informational table.
Looks like we have a lot of holes on this table.
Yes.
Okay, I can plug in. I thought I sent this. I will be at the playground dedication or whatever you're calling it. Yeah, OHA
Members.
playground on Tuesday. So then that means I can be before. Hugh has his meet your teacher assessment at that time. So why don't I take a shift while he's doing his assessment? So put me down for OH Anderson from 4 to 5.
On September, you have that. Are you keeping track of this? Okay.
September 2nd, OH 4 to 5, and then the playground at 5.
And I will be there that night as well. So I'm happy to take whatever is empty because that entire time works for me in the evening. Do you want us to plug this in now? Do you want us to get back to you? How
Well,
do you want to
the gift,
Because it's
I
so
guess I'll just
quick.
say the problem with, yeah,
so
if you,
fast?
if you know of anything right off the bat, that was kind of the idea, was to try and get some of these done.
Yeah, because there's a lot next week.
And it can be, it's not the whole time you have to be there. We're looking for even just partial.
Wildwood, I could do it at 9:30. Hour to 2 hours on each one. And then September 3rd, right away at 8 o'clock, I will be there.
I'd like to go to Wildwood too, on the 2nd. Show my face there again.
Third? Oh wait, the second at 9:30.
My school starts the 3rd.
Okay. Mm.
Yeah, I'd like to go to Wildwood. Can I go to Wildwood?
Specifically next Tuesday and Wednesday, the 2nd and 3rd, I can try to find an hour slot on both days to attend either Wildwood or OH. I don't really have a preference.
In the evening or?
No, during the day.
So the Wildwood on Thursday, the 28th, the 4 to 5:30. I can do that one. Do I want what? I see.
Oh, no, it'll be the same. Sorry, it shouldn't be listed separately like that.
So just
It'll be the same. Is it over here? But are we gonna have a separate table in each area? Do you wanna, are there, okay, let me try this again. Are there two separate rooms where they don't come over at all into Wildwood area? So that Wildwood area where they have all the Zephyr gear and all of that. Okay.
So I'm going to the regular Wildwood.
You just sign up for something and we'll figure out where.
Okay.
About
Sure.
that. No. Okay. Thanks.
So I'll just say that entire time.
Any idea on the timing of the October 2nd event? Like roughly, I don't need exact times, but
Say it was like 4 to 7-ish.
4 to 7.
Yeah. There's an
Right here.
overlap with something.
4:30 to 7, Ryan.
okay. I can get put down for that one as well. Is she? Okay.
I mean, your kids will be there, I think.
I will sign up for multiple times on the 2nd and 3rd. But I have to do that with a different calendar in front of me. Is this an editable spreadsheet, or can we edit the one that is online that you printed this off of?
Is that helpful, or do we need
Well,
to fill more?
It fills it up quite a bit more, so we can at least get something going with that. Thank you, everybody.
Do we have anything for September 3rd yet?
There was some September 3rd.
Oh, okay.
Said, yeah.
Okay.
There are a couple September 3rds, yep.
have somebody for every grade.
Yep. Yep. That's already.
Oh, I do. So tomorrow, who's in charge of this? Anyone here?
Oh, Leslie keeps track of, is that what you, oh, who's in charge of the actual
I mean,
table?
what do we do tomorrow when I show up at the middle school?
There will be there'll be a table set up. There will be a trifold there with information on the table, the flyers that we've, um, there's some flyers that will be there. And so really, I'll just say that usually what I do is I'm near the table and I just talk to people and ask people if they have any questions and see if they do. And some people do and just go from there.
Hold one high, welcome back to school, and then the other job is the referendum.
Yeah, well, so where the table is, depending on where you are, it's going to, you know, if you picture a lot of our back to school events, there will be a lot of informational tables in like a gym, for example, or a cafeteria. And so we're one of the informational tables in that area. And so it's just a matter of talking to people, saying hello, asking if they have any questions about the referendum. So,
Direct them to you.
sure, yeah.
All right, let's move on to our next item, which is item C, enrollment update. So that
Okay. Yeah, it is me. So I had mentioned in my notes that I would give you a more solid, up-to-date enrollment after school had started. So at our next board meeting, I'll be able to say with a little more certainty what our enrollment looks like, because at this point, every year we expect that that first week of school we'll discover some people have moved. There'll be some people that just kind of show up, but so our numbers aren't terribly accurate yet. However, I do want you to know that we have a number of grade levels that are full at this point, and we have waiting lists in most every grade level at this point while we're waiting to see what's happening. Kindergarten in particular, we had we have a very long waiting list in kindergarten. We did get to a point where all of the families who have either have siblings in the district already were able to get in kindergarten, and that just happened recently that we hit that point where we could allow them in. So I know that I just want to recognize Leslie for working very hard to communicate with families, because there are a lot of families who are eager to be able to start school here, and we just don't have the room. But we do have waiting lists, and if we do it before the school starts, if we do find that we have room, we would let a couple more people in. So I wanted to let you know that we are looking at class sizes at all of our grade levels except for second grade at the elementary. Second are at or below the metro average. Second grade went up a little bit because that's the grade that we reduced one section, if you recall. And so those got a little bit high, in part because we just didn't have enough room. And so as families, so we didn't take any students under open enrollment in second grade, but some families moved in. And so that's a little bit high at this point. And then I will also share that otherwise class sizes at the middle school, we look like we've corrected those. You remember last year, seventh grade, we had a number of families move in over the summer, and that does not seem to be happening this year. And we planned for it too, and so we're a little more balanced. So our middle school class sizes look good. Our high school class sizes generally are in a good level, except for we have some department areas that right now Principal Hahn is working through, trying to add a section here and there and kind of reorganize, again, based on just how everything kind of fell out. And one of the things he does is he tries to anticipate where do we typically see the most PSEO. So for example, so students sign up for classes and then will drop out for PSEO later. And so he tries to anticipate where those are. And some of those class sizes end up getting big because not as many students dropped out. So now, right now, I'll just, I think students at the high school may see a few changes to their schedule as he tries to add a couple sections to try and balance out those class sizes. But generally speaking, we are looking at enrollment being slightly higher than last year at this point, so around stable or slightly higher. But it is the case that we have some waiting lists. So, yeah.
Funding works for, do we lose or gain funding for PSEO and CIS?
Yes. So what happens with, so yes is the answer to those. So so CIS, we offer that in-house, and so our students take CIS classes from our staff, and so they're getting college credit. Our staff have to go to a lot of training to ensure that they are prepared to teach the college level course, and so CIS is in-house, and our staff teach it. So we don't lose funding. However, there are some rules um, around the class sizes for CIS and the guidelines around that that they want us to follow. PSEO, depending on, there are a couple different models for PSEO. So a student goes to PSEO at Century. We have an agreement with them where they go to take a class there, and then we get the money from the state, and then we pay tuition to Century. So that is one model of PSEO. Other colleges, if a student goes PSEO, that money just follows them to the college.
Plug an open enrolled student into a senior spot if that senior's at PSEO?
Not quite. Well, a couple things. One, we don't typically have a lot of open enrollment at the senior level. Like we might get one or two students. It's not typical. So instead, what happens is Principal Hahn will just anticipate the number of students that are going to I'll just say most of our students just do PSEO part-time and then part-time with us. So he'll anticipate the classes that a student is probably going to drop and go to PSEO. But we don't backfill it with another student, for example, because we don't have that many students at that level.
Bad for our finances.
Yeah, I'll say yes. I suppose that's true. It's yes, it is great for the student. And it does mean that we lose funding when students do that. So that's kind of a big picture. Mostly I wanted you to know we have a lot of, we're pretty full. We have some waiting lists. And mostly at kindergarten is our biggest one. But we do have it in in a number of other grade levels. Are there other things? So Leslie, again, I want to shout out to Leslie Lovis, who fields all the phone calls from parents who are eager to find out what's happening, and she does call when she knows. She tries to anticipate the people who need to hear from her more than others, and gives them a call instead of an email. So there's a lot of personalized service coming from Leslie around students who are open enrolling. Is there anything else you think I should highlight in the enrollment update at this point? Yeah, so I'm hesitant to give you exact numbers at this point because I know they'll be different, but I will give you those numbers in September.
Two questions for you. First, it's a good problem to have, at least growing enrollment. Secondly, can we just add on to Director Peterson's question regarding PSEO? So it's more of an investment on the district's part to support PSEO students. Can you just give an example for folks listening? What are some of those classes and how that benefits our students? And we can add to that, but how that benefits us.
Yeah, so if any of your kids have taken some PSEO classes, so the PSEO classes that I'll just say probably benefit the kids the most are those ones that are, and I'm sorry, I can't remember the phrase, but they're the ones that are they transfer transfer easily. Do you remember what do you know the phrase of that? Into the audience. Oh, true. They're not articulate. There are certain classes that you take a PSEO that transfer easily. They're the transfer curriculum. So courses they take under the transfer curriculum are ones that are easily applied to other colleges. And so what happens then?
Pre-approved. It's even
They're pre-approved. Okay. So I pre-approved in Minnesota. Yeah. So they don't all transfer outside of Minnesota necessarily. Okay. So the transfer curriculum, when students take classes from the transfer curriculum, then that helps them with the cost of college because they don't need to take those courses in college and they would count for college credit. So I'll say that's I'd say that's probably the major benefit of PSEO. But then also students are able to take courses that we just simply can't offer as well. So there's that as well. And all of this sometimes gets confused with 916 courses, which are not PSEO courses. Those are other courses that offer industry certification and such that our students take advantage of as well, which is just a little bit different. So, are there more things that you would add that
Nope.
you would recommend?
No, okay.
Well, that was it for my enrollment update, unless there are other questions. Again, I'll give you a more of an update with more specifics in September.
Any questions? Okay, moving on to item D, 2026, 2027 academic calendar review. Again, Superintendent Duffy.
Okay, so this past spring, our calendar committee met and had a lot of conversation about the 26-27 calendar. Specifically, that in looking at this, that Labor Day is later in September 2026, and if we follow the traditional way that we build a calendar, school would have start until September 8th, which would push us into a week later in June for school. And so the conversation was, a lot of the conversation of the calendar committee had to do with people wanting the committee talking about ending school a little bit earlier, starting earlier and ending earlier. And so this was a conversation that a lot of districts had, and as a result, the legislature did pass provision for the next couple of years, for 26, 27, and 27, 28, that school districts could start before Labor Day, but they couldn't start until September 1st. So September 1st would be the first day they could start. The reason some districts can start earlier than that has to do with if they're under construction and they need to extend their summer in order to allow them to complete construction projects. So that's always been in place. We may be in that situation. We just really don't know. But nonetheless, for 26, 27, the calendar committee has put forth this calendar that would start school in next September on September 1st and have 4 days of school, then Labor Day, and then come back on the 8th again. And then that would end, the school year would end then for students on June 4th. There are other parts in here that are typical for our calendar when you look through them. They involve days at the end of terms, like the end of quarter, end of semester, for a transition day and for grading day. You can see spring break in there as well. A lot of times our spring break is the second week in March. This time it would be the third week in March, in large part because overall the activities and sports seasons are pushed a little bit later, so that's why it would be a little bit later there. Otherwise, I think a lot of these dates that you see there are pretty typical.
a couple of comments and questions. First one is, Barb, do we have any guidance from other public schools in Minnesota or anywhere that, have gone to start the year for 3 or 4 days and then taken a day off and then gone back into it? Does that disrupt learning at all or anything like that?
I don't know that I have anything like.
No
I don't-
opinion one way or the other?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
know. It wouldn't be research based. It would be opinions. Mhm.
A comment, I do think the calendar committee has done a really good job of trying to take away like the random professional learning days that aren't attached to other major like holiday breaks and those sorts of things, which makes it great for families that are struggling with like childcare and that sort of thing. The other question I had is the Minnesota, and it's okay because I'm guessing we haven't really compared the schedules, but the Minnesota State High School Week calendar, is that pushed back at all because of the late Labor Day? And you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
is,
that's why we're talking about a third week.
right,
instead
but
of the
I'm
second.
even looking at like fall sports. Are fall sports starting at their traditional time, or is that pushed back a little bit further? Guessing we don't have the answer to that. I'm just saying like maybe that's something that we should think about too.
No tournaments are.
Okay.
That was one of the things we looked at. Are there other comments or?
Well, starting before Labor Day sounds like the worst idea in the entire world, but I know I'm on an island here, so there, I had to say it. Doesn't seem right.
Yes, I would wonder, I'm assuming other school districts are having a similar conversation. And, maybe this ends up, because it's sort of an anomaly here. We're looking at Labor Day falling where it is, and so that's why it's happening this way. But I'm wondering if this is probably going to be the norm for the next 2 years until Labor Day kind of goes back. But anyway, I'm more curious if other school districts are considering this as well. And then I think that's a good question you asked, Ryan, about, if most schools are starting then around that first, does that also impact the Minnesota State High School League? Are they starting the fall sports? Like right now, they've started 2 weeks. This is their third week already of fall sports. I'm wondering if fall sports then, are starting earlier as well by a week.
Yeah, and if we did entertain the idea of pushing start back another week, all of a sudden are we having 3 weeks of varsity competitions taking place with no students in the class? Yeah.
I can look at all that. I honestly, we didn't look at the fall. We looked at spring and tournament schedule in spring because we were trying to play spring break, and that's always the question for us. So that's really what we looked at. We didn't look at the fall on that part.
Any board comments on spring break? Like the last 2 years, I think we've had the second week of March. This is getting pushed back to the third week. I'm just curious if there's been any thoughts or consideration to where spring break is landing. Any opinions? I think it's to align with the 9/16 calendar.
Well, that's how it has been. So our goal has always been to align with the 9/16 calendar. 9/16 in turn has looked at our calendar as well, but also, so we're one of the highest users of 9/16 programming. So they look at the other districts that also will be used, and then they try to pick a date that matches for the most number of students. So that is something that they do as well.
Definitely impacting a lot of our students prior to spring break landing during the middle of the end of season, tournaments and things like that. I don't know. It's moved around more than it stayed the same, is my opinion. It's like the last 2 years has been consistent, but prior to that, it's been all over the place.
Brian, I think you did ask a good question about if they move up the start date in the fall to September 1st, does that mean that 3 weeks out is the fall sports start August 10th, which feels really early if it's 3 weeks out. And if it's not, then it would be 2 weeks out on the 17th, but then you'd only get 2 weeks of or 2 weeks of the season before school starts. So I don't know which way is, preferred or better, or
I
'cause
can
the
find
10th
out when
feels really early.
fall sports begin. I just didn't even think about that. I really looked, the committee didn't look at that. They looked at spring break. So Jenny, you expressed that starting before Labor Day is not preferred to you. Do you want to just comment to the group about why? Mhm.
I will offer a comment that with Stillwater, I think this year starting a couple of weeks early, there's a lot of frustrated families with that, and Stillwater's not Mahtomedi by any means, but they're struggling with a lot of the summer jobs that are associated with the community there and those sorts of things, and the fact that they've had to go back to school has caused some challenges. So just something worth considering. I think that we've got a neighboring district that's kind of experimenting with this already.
Is their experiment to end earlier in May then? Is that why they
No,
shifted
I
it up?
think they finished after Memorial Day.
So, this is we're going to want to get a calendar out for our families sooner rather than later. And I guess I'd want to know what kinds of things do you need in order to move forward on the calendar, or like what do we need still? Is it something you can move forward on, or do you feel like you need more time?
Like take a vote today.
If you felt ready to go, then I'd suggest we go with it so that families would know. But if you feel like you're not ready and you need more information, what would that information be, and what would you need? Either way.
Feel ready to vote on it today. I would like to know about the fall sports.
Okay. What
Where
else?
916 is landing as far as their spring break as well. Those are the two things that I guess rise to the top for me. Other than that, I think other things will fall into place, but I think those are things to consider.
And hypothetically, if we did push it back to a traditional start after Labor Day, how does that impact the days per quarter? Does that throw the entire calendar out of whack then?
We have a different version of that. It was the original one that we looked at before everyone reacted. Do you have it? Okay, so Leslie has a copy.
Maybe just a moment to review that before we take a vote.
This is the one.
Thank you.
Okay, do you know when fall sports begin? Okay, Leslie knows when fall sports begin. This one, even though it starts on September 8th, again, ending June 10th is the last day of school there. I would point out that we kept spring break the same time, again, because of the sports schedule. So that's what we have there. When is competition starts August 17th, or that's a
Monday.
Monday.
Starts the 17th, so it looks like there could be a sport team that has something that first week. But like, I
But
guess-
practices would start.
but
the 17th.
practices will start the 17th. So I guess I'm only speaking what I know, I guess. So that would mean like, let's say you're a football kid, you have practices for 2 weeks like they do right now. But then the third week, which is what we're doing this year, that's still a practice week, but we'd be in school. You know, every sport's different. Every sport's gonna have a different competition, but yeah, so we would be moving it up a week.
Is it worth getting feedback from the fall coaches to get their thoughts on any of that?
Have we ever historically recognized an Easter break?
We
Not
don't
this
every year. It does, I think on one of these we don't, right?
Easter is the March 28th, and we have 26th, and that Friday and Monday we have class.
We have it off. Oh, sorry, that's what I went off of.
Got it.
Still water dust.
It aligns we have before. I mean, that's, I think part of the problem here is that other part of the schedule, so. Mhm. Okay, anything else you need?
Can we wait till the next meeting to?
Oh, yeah, 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 I don't have all these answers, so so you're not ready to vote, that's totally fine. If you were, I was gonna suggest you move it forward, and, but you're not, so, we will get some of that information, and if you have other questions as well, why don't you send those? Okay, that's it for that.
We're moving on to action items. So first action item is approval of donations and grants for July 2025, totaling $23,028.18. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Director Doman. Is there a second?
Second.
By Director Donna. Any discussion? All donations and grants are greatly appreciated. The use of these funds will be to further the mission of the school district and are used towards the wishes of the donor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our school board committee reports. And AMSD is up first. Is that?
I was out of town and I never received minutes. I don't for that meeting either, so.
Well, I was able to make it, so I'll,
Thank you.
the main, speaker we heard from was, it was a youth run, as in, I don't know, maybe 20, youth run nonprofit, and their mission, let's see if I can find their tagline. Their mission is around student engagement, and I want to say it was keeping students off streets and screens, I think was the idea. And so they want to be able to work with communities and school districts in particular around student engagement and student voice. That's kind of their vision, and they have a couple of adult mentors that are behind the scenes, but these students were exceptional speakers, and they are called, here we go, Good Trouble, inspired by the past, driven by purpose, led by youth. That is what their organization. And they were spectacular. Just really, they have the research behind student engagement. They shared information about connections with adults and what's meaningful connection with adults and what that should look like. Yeah, they had they were very motivating. And so one of the main things I think takeaways of what they do is having these youth convenings where they help kids talk about what it is they want from their schools and what they want from their teachers and their experience in order to be more engaged in school and their community. So it was a great presentation, and it was some really very impressive students. Or no, they're not students; they're youth. They're youth. That's just sorry. Um, they did some great work. So that was our main presentation. We also just there wasn't much of an update in terms of legislative updates, but we did talk a little bit about how many districts are going out for referendums, and I know you had the statewide total, I think, at one point, Jenny, um, and AMSD is pulling together for us how many districts are going out for referendums, how much they're asking for, and then the budget issues as well. So I will find that and get that to you. But those are our main topics.
Next up is MAIF, and MAIF last met on August 19th, 2025, and Director Peterson attended for me, or Superintendent Dufferin, either one of you, any update from
Like my
MAIF?
notes. Oh, okay. Yep. They welcomed 2 new members to their board. Barb gave a levy presentation. They still need 2 more people to join the MAIF board. Some things we've already touched on. They're going to be present at the playground open house since it was their initiative to fund the new playground. So this is a big deal for them to see it opening. And again, they are putting on October 2nd. That's their deal, the Zephyr get together at Pine Tree Apple Orchard. We found out Jim Lane was Teacher of the Year, and then we voted, not we, Kelly would have, they voted on accepting the agreement that they use the space in this building and it's contractual, so there isn't any gray area on expenses and correct, a lawyer suggested that there's an agreement written and
We've had an agreement for a number of years since it became a professional organization and it needed to be renewed.
MSBA, and is that?
That's me. It looks like some of the stuff I was gonna say is right in here, but I'll just highlight what I was gonna talk about. That is, and I asked Barb to clarify this because I didn't really understand it, is that, and if we've done this before, and if you wouldn't mind reminding us, Barb, that we as a board can write resolutions that are then brought to the state and then brought forward as legislation, correct?
So we have in the past put forward ideas for the legislative assembly. Is that what? No, it's called the delegate assembly. Excuse me. And so, the example I gave is we had talked about PSEO communication between colleges and schools and wanting to see that improve because we had situations where students we weren't getting information about them, say, dropping out, and which affected their credit count for graduation would be an example. And so that was one piece that we put forward to the delegate assembly, wanting to see some legislation around communication between high school and PSEO, and that then it goes through a lot of different committees and goes through legislative process to get passed. But yep, that was an example of something that we initiated. So that wasn't through the delegate assembly, but we were very involved in the READ Act and getting our voices in there and we were consulted frequently on that, but that didn't come through the delegate assembly.
Here's where I'm going with this. I would be curious to see if we, the 6 of us, if we ever found a passion, something we do so well here or something we've changed, that then should be brought forward to the state level.
Or something we want fixed. I mean, that's the other part of it. Mm-hmm.
Now that I found out what it is. And then we did talk about the delegate assembly. Anyone on our board can apply to join that. And then everyone knows my favorite, the coffee and conversations have started up again. And they're worth listening to if you can.
Northeast Metro 916, I know we got the talking points emailed to us. Is there anything else on that one? I don't think- Yeah, I don't know. I guess nothing else that you know, Leslie, right? Any other board reports not listed here? Yeah, Director Doman.
So we've been fortunate enough to be awarded the at-large board seat for the Minnesota State High School League 4AA committee. And so I'm volunteering in that capacity. We had our first meeting a week ago. And I think a couple of things worth calling out. One, the federal lawsuit around transgender participation for the Minnesota State High School League is under review. There's been no updates and no timeline given, and that was the extent of the conversation. So as we get further guidance on either any federal or state legislation, I'll be sure to share that with the group here. And then the only other topic that I wanted to call out is that from a financial perspective, since we are members of the 4AA group, that we're, financially in a very strong position. One thing that has really led to that has been the NSPN streaming contract that we have for our section tournaments. That's really helped the funding. And a lot of the other section tournaments have actually gone to increase ticket prices to balance their budget. And luckily, we're still at the lowest ticket price in the state. And we made the recommendation to kind of move forward with that plan since we are in such a great financial position. But other than that, I also joined the games subcommittee, which addresses any kind of rules infractions that come up throughout the year. And so it'll be interesting if I have anything to report back, but I have nothing to share yet at this time.
Board with you, right, Mr. Metzger? Isn't that any position for him?
That's,
Don't know.
I think he was maybe on it last year.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong though.
Okay, yeah, he wasn't at the meeting, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And next, we're going to move to closed session. We will then open back up just to adjourn. So the audience at this time could choose to enjoy the evenings because we will just come back to adjourn. With that, I'm looking for a motion for us to move to closed session.
I'll make the motion.
Director Doman?
Second.
About that. We are moving to closed session for discussion on personnel matter pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D, Superintendent Evaluation. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Are we meeting in here or?